Hello everybody and welcome to The High Road. We have another instalment today and I'm your host, Noel C. Blundell, and welcome everybody. Today we have a special person and his name's Jason, and he's the founder of Bettermentall Together, a mental health service located in Trafalgar. The service provides community groups, a drop-in space, motivational speaking, mental health first aid provider, NDIS support services, various services including food aid and support services, mental health, as I said, and wellbeing service provider. Jason is a father of 7 children and a survivor of issues of mental illness and addiction himself. Jason, how are you, mate?
I'm going really well, thanks, Al.
Oh, thank you for coming in today, mate.
It's good to be here in downtown sunny Motown.
It is indeed, and it's always good to see your smiley face, mate. Actually, you always bring a smile to everybody's face everywhere you go. So thank you for coming in. Today we just want to have a bit of a chat about your story and about Bettermentall and how you got to where you are.
Yep.
So how would you like to open that up? Firstly,
I suppose just discuss, start with a bit of my story. Obviously, we're not going to sit here. I'm over 50 now, so if we go the whole story, we might be here for a while. So
years young, years young. I forgot to put on the end of that. 50 years young.
So, I suppose how I got to where I am now is by eventually taking ownership more than anything. There was a lot of blame for the life of the past. And I drank a lot. So at the age of 14, I found alcohol to deal with my issues. Now, it did give me peace. So I'd been to doctors on numerous occasions to find out what was going on in this, I can say crazy brain of mine because it does get a bit loose. And there was no answers. I was a young kid back in the 70s and 80s. Mental illness was not known. It wasn't discussed. It was shunned. You didn't mention it. So there was no ease with coming out and talking about your problems. You just kept them. So as a young guy growing up, I had no idea on how to act. I had no idea how to control these emotions or if I could control them. And then the thoughts that came with them to try and dispel to try and get through these feelings of emotions that I didn't understand at all. So there was no answers. I would often just scream in my room and cry and plead for peace. I think I didn't know about peace back then, but looking back, that's what I was looking for. Just something stopped this madness in my mind that I had no control over. So through that, at 14, I found alcohol, and it actually gave me peace. I remember still to this day where I was sitting and that alcohol and this peace that came over me. So that's the day that alcohol became my best friend and my worst enemy.
Wow. Yeah. Typically for males and men and boys, emotions are a real topic, a real hard topic to address. Men hold their emotions in typically, and boys who are more hands-on, they like to use their hands as opposed to use English and words and things along those lines, struggle to articulate their emotions. So this was you as a young man?
Yeah,
this is you as a young man, and that carried through into your adult life as well.
Yeah, and I suppose when you deal with things with a child mind, and they become habits, they become forms of how we react and what we do. So as an adult, I just carried all those in with me in adulthood, and from the age of 14, as I said, alcohol was my go-to. And it was my go-to up until the age of 44, and this year I'll be 6 years sober. So, but alcohol caused so many issues in my life. So as much as it was giving me peace while I was drinking it, it was continuing and keeping me in the pain that I was actually trying to escape from.
Yes, it does do that, doesn't it? Actually, you think it's helping you and setting you on a course to where you want to go, but it actually increases the pain. It actually doubles. I was thinking today, it actually amplifies your situation.
100%. But what happens, Noel, is we're in this pain that we don't want. So we've got to start understanding that we need to feel our feelings and not try and avoid them and hide, because we're in this. So we get pain and we want to relieve ourselves instantly. We don't want to feel it. So we
Yes.
look for distractions and things to do
Yes.
that. So once we find something that works in inverted brackets, whatever, what is it?
Yes, yes.
When we find that, I call them go-tos, we keep using those things.
Yes.
But the sad part is alcohol, drugs, all these other things, sex, whatever your go-to is, they do give instant peace.
Yes.
Granted. But what they do is they keep us in the pain.
Yes.
So whereas if we go we want to get out of pain, so we're feeling emotional pain, we go to thoughts, we're having all these thoughts processed, we want to jump out of this pain, so we look for something to jump out of. We don't want to go into something else that's painful. So any change is painful. So imagine I say to you, Noel, I know that breath work works, I know that meditation works, but you're in pain at this moment and you jump out of pain into pain because it's change. You don't want to do that.
Yes.
So what we want to do is start getting people to practice wellbeing processes all the time. Not
Yep.
go-tos.
Yep.
So when we start to implement these things with awareness in our life, so meditations, breath works, healthy eating, exercise, all balanced, not
Yep.
over the top,
Yep.
then they start to become our go-tos. They start to become our habits, and then we move away from the old habits
Yes.
into the new. So once we form these new habits, life changes.
Yes, but it's difficult. I think the mindset is one of the problems that the first hurdle to get over is changing your mindset and actually getting yourself into a frame of mind where you're actually going to change that habit, because we're very comfortable in our comfort zones.
Yep.
You got any tips on changing your mindset?
You got to have a reason.
Yeah, okay.
There's well, for me, it was a reason. Now let's have a look. So we ask someone what they want in life. Have we ever questioned ourselves, what do we want in life? And I don't mean money and those sort of things. I mean, how do we want to feel? So we have no real direction, I suppose. So when you ask someone, well, how do you want what do you want? And they say, I want better. But then you say to them, well, what is better? They have no idea what better is.
Yep.
So then you say, well, how are you going to get something you don't know? So you wake up in the morning, you say, I want better. You get to the end of the day, it's been the same. You've got no idea of what better is. So if you can define what better is, and for me, better was to be peaceful, content, have joy in my life, because I had none of that, and feel like I had something to move towards. So then once I felt, once I have these ideas of what I want, peace, contentment, joy, how do I get these things? Definitely isn't by drinking, smoking, eating unhealthy and doing all these things. So then I started to look at what I wanted, not what I didn't want.
In your life.
Yeah. So then, so what do you want in life? Where do you want to be? What sort of person do you want to be? And then once you can see that, because you can, I'll get you to ask yourself this question out there, and yourself, Noel, what is better? So when I ask you what's better, do you know what's better for you? What life do we want?
Oh, you want to be healthy? You want to be fit? You want to be able to move around freely without any aids, walking sticks, trolleys, or things along those lines? Essentially, I think that would be a good start. The list could be endless, but I think, fundamentally, those spiritual, physical health goals would be pretty much on top of everyone's list.
Yeah, so then what is peace? How do we get peace? So then we can define what peace is. We know what we want, where we want to go. Then we start to do the things that will bring peace. I know for a fact that eating junk food, being reckless, fighting, anger, frustration, all those things don't bring peace.
Yes.
So to change these things, what do we need to do? How do we need to discover this, and where do we need to go to get this? And that's where I started, I suppose. So going back to where I started the changes. So over that age, from the age of 14, Noel, when I first discovered alcohol, I really lost who I was. I never really knew I was, but I lost everything about me. Everything was about alcohol. Everything was about when I could get it, how often I could have it, and my whole life revolved around it.
Yep.
No matter where I went.
And you don't. I'm assuming here that was like a daily thing, like.
At the age of 14, it progressed. It's like any addiction. It starts off, it gives me some peace, but then it brings guilt and shame.
Yes.
Because of the actions.
Of course. Yes,
so that guilt and shame feeds the need, so then more alcohol. And then the only time I was having peace in the end is when I drank alcohol, but then the effects after it and during it, and what I did, that just caused more guilt and shame. So I had a period of time from that age to the age of 44 when I relieved myself of alcohol, but those 30 years, job problems, relationship problems, financial problems, psych wards, involuntary psych ward stays, attempts on my life, hospitalizations, all these things came with what I was doing. So they were part of what it was. So when I was diagnosed at 24 with bipolar and OCD and psychosis and these things, I was given a direction on how I'd live, a label.
Yep. And what was that, mate?
It was, you're going to have a tough time. You'll be medicated for life.
Yep.
You'll have trouble holding down a job.
Yep.
Your relationships, have trouble with relationships. All these things were what I was told. So I ended up living by that. I was like the pin-up boy for bipolar, OCD, psychosis.
Yep.
All those things I live by. So that's how I live. I was given this diagnosis by a professional.
A label, really, yes. Yep.
With directions on how to live. And I lived exactly to those directions because what we believe we will achieve.
Yes.
So I was given these, this way of living, this pathway, I suppose, of what life would be like. And I went with it. And it wasn't until I challenged that, and that was through desperation at the age of 44, when Kerry said to me, my wife now, said, Jace, unless things change, we're done. So I was given an ultimatum, and that was I had a choice then, Noel, whether I go down the path of I was going, which was alcohol, weight problems, health problems, relationship problems, problems everywhere in my life, or do I change that and start to move into a different direction? And luckily for myself and my family and friends and those around me, I chose to believe a different narrative, and that I did have other possibilities.
And for the people out there, I know from my previous training, I've trained in the area of drugs and alcohol, that we were trained that in the area of indicators where alcohol is impacting on your life. And if you are having troubles with your relationship, if you are having troubles with the police, or you're losing your license, or you're having issues at work, or losing your job, any of those things whilst you're drinking, they are very firm indicators that the alcohol is a problem in your life, a problem to be addressed. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. And I could tick all of those. It's about your relationships and those sorts. They were breaking down. In trouble with the law, I had many altercations with car accidents, assaults and things like that through those periods of time. So trouble with the law, trouble with relationships, trouble with health.
Yes.
All those things I could tick.
They're naturally extended consequences to your actions and to your alcohol consumption.
And all that was all because I was looking for one thing.
Yep.
And that was peace.
Yep.
I was looking external of myself.
Yep.
So when we go looking external of ourselves for peace, it's always temporary.
Yep.
We never find permanent peace in anything external.
Yep.
Once we get whatever it is, so once I get the new job, I'll be okay. Once I get the new car, I'll be okay. Once I get the house, I'll be okay. We all know this.
Yes.
But we get that, and then the next problem pops up.
That's right, because we're
appease
trying to
that
externalise our peace. Yes.
It's like, let's look at loneliness. If you're lonely, you're going looking for a partner to hide the loneliness.
Yep.
You're not looking for a partner for joy and love and all those things. So you're just covering up what your problems, problems. When we start to work with ourselves and start to look after ourselves. So when we look after ourselves, we build self-worth, because we're telling ourselves, hey, I'm worthy. I'm putting good food in my mouth.
Yep.
I'm looking after myself. I'm going for a jog. I'm communicating with people. I'm getting out in public. I'm with people. I'm connecting. All these things start to build a different you and a different place, and we start to heal within. But while we're covering it, while we're tipping alcohol on it, we're actually protecting our shit.
Yep.
We're protecting our pain and suppressing it, pushing it down. And not until we actually sit with our feelings and allow the feelings to pass. Once they pass, we let them through. But as soon as we tip something on them, we protect them, we hold them, we store them, and they affect us. And so we go and tip something else on again. And I did this for 30 years, thinking that one day one of these beers is going to change my life. I'm sure of it. I'll just do it one more time. How about just one more?
And you're a dedicated participant by the sounds of it.
Hey, and when you say that, Noel, it's about persistence. How persistent are we as addicts?
Yes. Absolutely.
I would have
dedicated
climbed mountains and gone through snow at 2:00 in the morning to get one more beer.
Yep.
Now, then I use the same thing, and I want to go for a run, and I go, I can't be bothered. It's too hard. But for that alcohol, I mean, we are dedicated.
Yes, we
use that dedication, that consistency, and because consistency in what we do daily is what we repeat is what we become.
Yes.
So if we can be consistent in different things other than alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, and all these things that we go to, start being consistent with yourself and healthy. And we start changing our life. We really do.
So, do you think, just out of curiosity, mate, you were talking about confusion and pain in a confusion and pain. Would you say that it's harder to maintain and bottle that pain and bottle that confusion than it is to face it? Because I'd imagine there's a lot of people out there who are in that similar position that you were in, and many others are in, and it just appears to be easier to numb that pain with alcohol, drugs, pornography, whatever that it is, than it is to face it. Do you think ultimately it'd be easier to face it?
100%. 100%. While we store the pain, we stored the pain. Remember, whatever the trauma was, it's been stored with pain. And by tipping alcohol or whatever we do in our go-tos, we're keeping that pain. We're not letting it go. We constantly keep it. Yep. But that's... I've just lost my train of thought.
Keeping the pain, and is it easier to address it than it is to hold it?
Yeah. So I've totally lost my train of thought.
That's what.
Oh, so it's going to take pain to relieve it, but when we relieve the pain, when we allow the pain to relieve, we're released of it.
Yes.
So yes, granted, at the time when you're feeling the pain and you just tip a beer on it, for my instance, once we tip that beer, we do get that instant relief, and that's what we're looking for.
Yes.
But it's temporary. It's not lasting. But when we allow ourselves to feel the pain, and when we allow ourselves to heal from the pain, when we start healing from within and start using our internal selves to work through these things instead of chucking extra distractions from external on, then the pain is temporary.
Yep.
But while we're tipping something on, the pain to remain is forever.
Yes.
So our pain of tipping alcohol on or distracting ourselves and all those things, that will continue.
Yes. And where do you think the pain is held? I'm thinking that a lot of the pain, just through past experience when I felt pain personally, emotional pain myself, I hold it right in the centre of my chest. Actually, it's almost like a caving sensation. Is that the sort of pain you're referring to, or do you have another description for the pain?
Yeah, I'd say heart for me.
Yeah, me too.
I'd say, and we feel the emotion before we think about it. So the pain, we get an emotional sense, and it's heart. So but then what we do is we close off because we don't want to feel it. So we close off and we try and distract. We've become very, very good at distracting.
Yes.
Because that's what we're taught. Even now we're given iPads. As soon as we feel a little bit anxious or awkward, we'll grab an iPad or a phone, or we'll scroll, or we'll grab something external. So while we're doing that, we're going to continue to store those
emotions.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I feel that too. That's why I always encourage men that are in that position. You can see they sort of crouch forward and their shoulders come forward because you can see they're holding the emotions in around their chest and heart area. Yep. When I identify that in men, I always say, you let that out. Let it out. It doesn't have to be in front of somebody, or you can go somewhere and let it out. You're not going to be, it's not about shame. It's not about being weak. It's not about anything like that. It's about relieving that pressure, because if you don't, it's going to grow and grow and grow into major problems. Moving forward, mate, you obviously had a bit of a crisis in your life at 44, which made you have a serious look at yourself to move on. Would you like to open that up a little bit for our people out there and put us in the picture of what happened at that stage of your life?
Yeah, well, Kerry and I, alcohol, as I said, was a huge part of my being. That was I associated everything in life with alcohol. Alcohol came before, and sadly to say, and it does hurt to say, before my family, before my friends, before myself, before everybody. So I'd get home from work I'd drink every night, but I'd get home from work on a Friday, and I did. It hurts me to say this, but I don't hold shame with it because I've been able to work with it. I've been able to help others and my family. But I'd get home from work on a Friday and with the slab, and I'd be up and about. I'd have smokes, beers, straight in the shed, Noel.
Yep.
Wouldn't even go in to see the family.
Yep.
Fire on, TV on if it was footy season, and I'd stay in there. They'd come out and visit me in the shed.
Visit you in the shed.
And at a point of time there during the night, I'd be fun and exciting, and the music would be going, the kids would be loving that. And they have said they missed that part, but that's about the only part. But and then Kerry would go in, and she'd continue to come out and check me to see if I was alive, because my emotions and where I was at, she knew what was going on.
Okay.
There was a lot happening. And so I wouldn't come in. She'd find me out there at 4 a.m, laying on the floor.
Okay.
Or she'd come out and be running around in a psychotic episode, running around the paddock nude. These are the sort of things that would happen at home.
Yep.
That went on. So Friday night, I'd be I couldn't walk. I didn't know who I was. I'd get to bed, or I'd just sleep there. And as soon as I got up, by 12 o'clock, I'd be drinking again.
12 o'clock next day?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always had a rule. And I found all people in addiction have this rule, and they think they're okay. If you got rules, you're not an addict. You don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. So my rule, my thoughts were that I hold down a job.
Yep.
And I don't drink till after 12. Got it under control. I knew I didn't.
Yep.
But,
and it's my reward.
Yeah. But as soon, 100%. But as soon as we take ownership for it, then we have to do something about it. So it's very hard to say that I'm an addict, because if you announce that, then obviously you've got to do something about it.
Cat's out of the bag.
I knew earlier, but didn't want to know.
Yep.
So I hid it from myself as well. But so Saturday, all day drinking. Sunday, all day drinking. But another rule, I'd stop early-ish so that I was semi-okay to go to work on the Monday. This was our life. Yep. Kerry got reprieve when I went away for work. So I worked for Telstra, and I used to go away for work and a lot. And while I was away, she actually liked that. I found out later. But when I was home, she'd come home. I'd be in the shed, and she'd come home with the kids. They'd been out, and that's the other thing they say about going out. I never went anywhere with them. Yep. Which hurts.
Yep.
I'd always make excuses I had too much to do. That was just my excuse to stay home.
Well, look, when someone finds himself in that position, it's just a continuous litany of excuses.
Yeah, it was.
Really.
Yeah.
And you know, the honesty back to yourself, I think, is one of the first casualties in the whole equation.
Yep.
And it's not until you actually address that in a serious manner, which is bloody scary,
it is,
that you actually start to turn around.
Yep.
So
she used to come home and check the shed before letting the kids in to make sure that I was alive.
Yep. That's a crisis.
Yeah. And that was all the time.
Yep.
She'd go to the supermarket, and there'd be no money in the account, but I always had alcohol and smokes.
Yep.
She wouldn't drive up and down the hill twice a day. If she had to go down the hill, she'd wait down there for the kids to finish school, because we couldn't afford the petrol. But
so you lived somewhere out of town?
Yeah, just up in the hills of Narracan.
Oh, okay.
Just out of Draft,
Okay. Yep. No worries. Yeah. Look, that's a tough situation. And we've spoken about that before. Would you like to have a bit of a chat about the turning point and you going for your first run?
Yeah, so this was our life, and the family would work on eggshells because they didn't know who they were going to get. I'd push blame on everybody else, so it was always eggshells. Everybody was stressed about what was next with Jason, the bipolar warrior, as I've been called, but back then there was no warrior. It was the bipolar warrior, warrior.
Oh, warrior.
So, but Kerry said at this time, River was only young, our little River. He's now 7 next week. She'd been staying in a different bedroom, so he was only little with him.
Yep.
Got to a point where it was all too much. I was too much. We've got lots of kids, and then she's looking after me as well, and trying to make my appropriate behaviour in her head.
Yep.
Now, I try to appropriatise it and say that, it's okay. I did this because of this.
Yep.
And try and make it appropriate for myself and for her. It was never appropriate for her.
Yep.
It was all wrong. So life was really tough for Kerry, and she got to the point where she'd supported me and tried different things, and she just had enough.
Yep.
She was at her end and said, I can't do this anymore.
So your partner had done as much as she could.
Yeah.
And she'd come right up hard against the line where the only change that could be achieved is for you to take responsibility for yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
So she said to me, Jace, I need change, because I'd said, I'd changed, I'd stopped doing things, and it'd be a 2-week period. And we know, we talk about motivation, but we know that after 2 weeks, the honeymoon phase stops, and all the newness of change is gone, and you just revert back. Motivation lasts 2-3 weeks, and you're back to the normal. So she'd heard all that. I'll change, over and over.
Yep.
And it got to a point where nothing was happening for there to be any change. So she said, either something has to change or it's done.
Yep.
And in my head, I don't know why. I still don't know why now, Noel, but I do know that looking back, I loved running as a kid, and I'd obviously forgotten that through alcohol and the abuse of alcohol, and all those joys had been lost in amongst the alcohol and life. And I decided I'd run. I said, I'll stop smoking and I'll start running, because I think I'd heard running helps too, fitness, whatever.
Yep.
So running. That was it. So the very next day, that night, I stopped smoking. The day we had the talk, I stopped smoking. The next day, I started running. And
how'd that go, mate?
Well, it was the hottest day. It was close to 40, I believe.
40 degrees.
We lived in the hills. I had the stubby shorts on, the blue stubbies.
Yep. As you do.
Runners that I just found somewhere that weren't really for running. They were New Balance, but I don't remember. Yeah, they were pretty ordinary. And off I went on this. It ended up being 2.3 Ks the block. And I got back and I literally fell on the ground, because I once I started running, I ran the whole way.
Yep.
I don't know how, because I was 99 kilos, I was overweight, I was a chain smoker and an alcoholic. And I ran every step. And I got back and I fell over, and Kerry was seriously thinking about calling the ambulance. And she said to me,
really?
maybe this isn't
Sorry to laugh, but that's quite a funny
maybe this
story.
isn't such a great idea, she said to me. But for some reason, I look at it now because she gave me the ultimatum. But but you got to remember, with that ultimatum, I had a choice to continue going down the same path.
But it went there. Yes, you could have.
And saying stuff you.
Yep.
And blaming her and the breakup.
Yep.
And what would follow, more financial ruin, blame it on everybody else, and sat in the pub and continued what I was doing, and I wouldn't be here speaking to you now, that's for sure.
Yes, which sadly we see a lot of that happening.
It does. So there's a choice to be made, and the choice is ours.
Yep.
And it comes down to the choice is absolutely ours. What's happened to me in the past isn't always our fault, and it wasn't my fault, all of it. But what we do with what's happened to us in the past is 100% up to us.
Yep. Did you find it really a surprise and an awakening when you ran your 2.3K and realised how out of shape and how far your body had gone?
I couldn't even think.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But and I don't think I thought afterwards. It's an interesting question. I've never been asked that, but I ran every day from that day.
For that day forward, you ran every day?
In the pain I was in, but I will say, looking back, the pain that I was in physically took the pain from the emotion away.
Okay.
And I will go through physical pain, and as
yes, I know, we'll get to that.
I will go through physical pain any day of the week over emotional pain that I was in.
Yep.
Because physical pain, when I stop running, the pain stops.
Yep.
I can take Panadol. I can take any other pain reliefs. I can relieve pain physical.
Yep.
In some way.
Yes.
Emotional pain, I never had that control. I could not get myself out of it without alcohol.
Wow.
And looking now, the running, I shifted the pain from my mind to my body.
Yep.
And it gave me reprieve. So from that day, every time Kerry started calling me Forrest Gump, because every time I felt pain, I would run. Whereas before, every time I felt pain, I'd grab a cigarette or a beer.
Okay.
So my go-to.
That was a change.
Yeah, but what happened is running became an addiction.
Okay.
And people go, it's a great addiction. No, it's not. It took me away from my family still.
Yep.
I became even more selfish.
Yep.
Because my running, no, not more selfish, just as selfish. My drinking was put before everybody, and then running and my physical and mental health and me moving forward became all about me as well.
Yep.
So with change, any change, there comes different dynamics in relationships, different dynamics in life, and there's other things to tackle because I end up becoming a different person. I did with everything I've done since then, but with the running, it definitely relieved the pain.
Well, I think, when we go out of one comfort zone into another comfort zone, we're wobbly. It's like learning how to ride a push bike. So you wobble all over the place and you fall off and you have a few accidents and things along those lines. And you have to refine the changes in your behaviour, and I think that's pretty natural. So let's talk about your running for a minute because you've achieved some amazing running milestones and goals.
Yep.
And that included running from Kyabram down to Trafalgar on one event?
Yeah, so that was 10 marathons in 10 days. And I did that on my birthday from the hospital I was born at.
Really?
And ran through towns I lived in and stuffed up in and created havoc in.
But really?
Also had some great times as well. But that whole run was for me to run and through towns and offload baggage that I didn't need to carry anymore.
How many Ks?
That was 422.
How long?
10 days.
10 days.
So, yeah, that's what that was for. And, 10 days, 422 kilometres. And I did that within, I think it was 18 months, 2 years from the day I started running.
2 years. Okay.
From an alcoholic, chain smoker, overweight, mentally in a really bad
challenged,
way.
Yep.
Yeah. Like at the time when Kerry gave me the ultimatum, I was also suicidal. That's why she was constantly checking the shed. So,
yes.
I was in a really bad place.
Yep.
In all aspects of life, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, the whole lot.
Yep.
Physically. So, to run that and the dedication, but as I said, it became an addiction. I related alcohol as pain relief, and now I started relating running as pain relief.
Yep.
So it's great to distract yourself, but you need to be healing at the same time.
Yep.
Because if we just continue distracting for the rest of life, as I said, we're going to keep our pains.
Yes.
But when we can start to do things to heal, we start to relieve those pains, and then the pains no longer harm us. They're no longer targets for us as an emotional hit. So the running, and then from there's been a lot more running, but there was 162 Ks in a paddock over 24 hours.
162K run.
In a 500 metre loop in a paddock that was sloped, and I didn't really think that one too much through, but I got through.
But hey, you must have. And 162.
That was during COVID too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was meant to be at a certain time, but then I stripped it back and pulled it in and just did it. Had a caravan sitting there, and I got a massage every now and again. That was it.
And the focus of the runs is awareness of mental illness.
So that one was for mental health and homelessness and addiction, all the things that all these things are what lead us sadly to the suicide rates. I mean, homelessness, they're at the pointy end. They're at the place where they've lost lots of hope and supports. They don't have the supports around them. So it's about helping those guys through a charity called Christmas on the Streets, and then addictions. I mean, we know where these things lead.
Yep.
So if we can start helping people at those ends, and then also people with their health and well-being, all people, then I think we'll see a community with better health and well-being.
Yes.
Which we can all help each other out. But
and it's all tiny steps too, mate, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So it is for sure, and we can talk about it. But so that run, and let's look at those runs, right? So that 2.3 kilometres I ran that day and almost passed out, and Kerry was going to ring an ambulance. Could you imagine if my aim, and this is where don't set your targets too big, just start. If I had have aimed to run, and the longest run I've done now is 221 Ks in 35 hours, consistent run.
Yep. Wow.
Right, so
amazing.
Now, if I had have on that day where I ran the 2.3 Ks, if my idea or my plan or my dream or my goal was to run 221 kilometres in 35 hours, it would have been too big. I would have given up. There's no way after that 2.3K run, the way I felt, I could have even thought I could achieve that. So where I was in life as overweight, mentally unwell, we were in financial dire straits too. I owed heaps of money, credit card debt. If I'd have sat there that day when Kerry gave me the ultimatum and looked at everything I had to do to change and to get to where I wanted to go, I would have pulled out. It would have been too big. Whereas what I put before myself was I want to be a better person. I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better community person. I want to be healthier. There's no limits on those. And there's no big thing. So it was just about starting. So people ask me, how did I stop the alcohol? So all I did, I stopped thinking and focusing on wanting to stop alcohol and started focusing on what I did want. So because what we focus on, we get more of. If I had focused on, for me, this is my own experience. If I had focused on the alcohol and stopping the alcohol, that's what I was focusing on, alcohol. Whereas I wanted to go forward. So I had this idea of where I wanted to go, and it was not huge. So it's the same with how I've run these runs. I've never, as much as they're big, and I focus on each step. I really do, and that's the honest truth. I don't when my mind starts to take me to how far I've got to go. That's where the pain starts coming, and the thoughts jump in, and they start going, "This is too far for you, mate," and I start doubting myself. So I strip that, and I become aware, and I let that go, and I just become where I am, and it's awareness. All these things I do looking back now are all about awareness. We can only change in awareness. We can't change in our subconscious habit mind. We need to be aware and step in, and that's how we make changes. So that's step by step by step. I just become where I am. Instead of focusing on how far I've got to go, where am I? What can I do right now to keep moving that one step forward? So some days I can't be bothered getting out of bed, the other day my emotions are trying to drag me back. I've still got limiting beliefs and stuff.
Yes, we all do, mate. We all do. Everyone's climbing their own Mount Everest, mate.
It's a forever thing. And that's a good thing though. That's called growth. So I would have been held in bed for weeks in that situation. But now I'm aware I can step out and I just step past the boundary. Whatever boundary presents that day for me, I step past it. I don't allow to be contained in it. I don't allow that fence to put a boundary around me to say I can't. So if there's a boundary there that I feel I can't get past, I'll step over it just a little bit. I don't have to step past it a million miles, but I just have to step past it. And I look back at a footy coach in the under-10s at Gisborne, and he said, Jace, when we were running to the line and back, he said, never pull up short. If you pull up short, you're pulling up on yourself. You cheat yourself, no one else. He said, go past the line. Not touch the line, go past the line. I've carried that with me.
Since under-10s football
up until now.
Coach.
This is how important people around us are.
Oh, absolutely.
He has dragged me over the line. He doesn't even know. To this day, he wouldn't even know.
That's right.
He drags me over the line so often in life and in these runs. And I've got some big runs coming up as well, which it's going to be. Watch this space.
Watch this space. You don't want to go down that road today.
It's a lot bigger than anything I've done before.
Yes. Well, I think you're pretty amazing, mate. Particularly, with your fit and health and where you've come from.
And it's all.
I think it's amazing.
You got to remember, this has all been for my mental health and for my overall well-being. I don't focus on my physical health for just my physical health. Everything for me is about my overall well-being. Because if we neglect one part, then the other part suffers. If you're not happy in your body, and whatever your happiness is for your body, I'm not talking, we're all different. We all have different wants and needs. So if I'm not happy in my body, then if that's going to affect my mind. So why would I just focus on one and not the other? Neglect one. And so I focus on all of me. Because when I focus on all of me, then the other parts benefit, and it's like this cycle that feeds itself.
So that includes like running, workout,
everything's
nutrition.
Balanced now too. Can I just quickly say that? So, like I said before, running. Even though I'm going to do some big runs, it's not a distraction anymore. I don't do anything to distract. Everything I do is from within now. So I don't look external for peace anymore. I find it within. Now that's through a whole range of things that we can talk another day, but breath work, meditation, healthy eating, looking after myself, not and not sitting around and hoping and just thinking things going to happen, but getting engaged.
Yes.
So that's I can talk more about that at a later date, but that's everything's balanced, Noel.
Yes.
And I don't do anything because I need to. I do it because I want to. So I run for joy now.
Yes.
I run for peace. I don't run for pain relief.
Yep.
It's all for me, and it gives me breath. It gives me life, and I feel good. It's not distracting. So
yep.
That's a huge thing for me to be able to say now that I no longer look for distractions. Everything is from within.
Yep.
And that's freedom.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to worry about what the world's doing.
Yes.
I don't have to wake up and go, if someone cuts in front of me, as long as someone doesn't cut in front of me, as long as people treat me right, as long as everybody smiles at me, as long as I don't have any issues, as long as a surprise bill doesn't go, I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
If you're not worried about those things and you allow life to happen and flow, then we're not trying to control situations, then we're free.
Yes.
But while we're trying to control people and situations
yes.
and things we can't control, we're in a bad place.
Yes.
We're trying to protect ourselves, and we're always on the
fight and flight.
When's the next thing coming? Shit. Who's going to piss me off next?
Yep.
So then remember, if things piss us off and hit us emotionally, we start to avoid them.
Yes.
And when we start to avoid them, we're actually losing out on life.
Yep.
And all of a sudden we've gone from this person that's engaging outdoors and with people and connecting to this person, and it happens pretty quick,
yes.
locked in a bedroom in 4 walls
yes.
in your comfort zone because you're protecting yourself from every possibility that could happen out there.
You're isolating. It's the worst thing you can possibly do.
It is.
Really, at the end of the day.
But in the moment, you believe that's the only thing you can do.
Correct. That's right.
And that's where we've got to shift that's where awareness comes in, because those become our go-tos, which are our habits, which are automatic, autopilot. We don't change in autopilot. It's about creating awareness.
Yep.
And using our emotional hits as an awareness to go, hey, something needs to change.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of going, shit, let's go and hide
yes.
and run from this.
Yes.
Something needs to change.
Look into that. Lean into that feeling. That's what I try and advocate all the time.
Yep.
You feel a bit wonky, or you feel a bit, something's pissed you off, or something is triggered you emotionally somehow, some way. Instead of going hiding in that, drinking or hiding yourself in the room or running away, whatever, lean into that and see what's going on for you there.
Yeah.
And then you'll start to address the emotions that you have pent up, really. And then you'll start to reduce that bank of tension you have in your chest.
Yep.
Mate, if we can change tact for a minute, I'd like to have a bit of a chat about Bettermentall, which is a service that yourself and Kerry have got up and running that operates out of Traff, and it does some amazing things. So would you like to have a chat about the Jason and the Kerry team, because you're both amazing. You deliver amazing service, and you've helped many, many, many people in the community.
Yep. Yeah, well, it started, Noel, just purely I laugh because when I started running, I actually announced to the world and myself that this is the answer, just run. Everything's fixed.
Yep.
How wrong was I? I think there's even tested, like I've spoken about it out there publicly. Yeah. What I will say is it has helped me get to where I am. But, so running, we started a support group because running was the answer. Yep. Just get healthy and you'll be right.
Yep.
That was a part of it. It does work. So we started a support group once a month on a Tuesday in Traff, and realised that the need was there, and I was just explaining, telling my lived experience and my story and where I've come from and where I'm at. And Kerry would talk about it as a support person, because the support people get lost in this.
Oh, yes. And they're very important.
Oh, and what Kerry's been through and other support people out there, it's a tough gig. Yeah. And Kerry even speaks now that she enabled a lot of what I was doing because it was easier. Like the kid, giving the kid the iPad when they're being...
Yes.
When they're annoying.
Yes.
So, me drinking, that was okay at the time because, I was. It
kept you occupied and out of her hair.
Yeah.
She was too busy with 6 kids and house and food and shopping and cars and you.
Yeah. And there was a whole lot of enabling things that she did that she now helps people to see that, and that they're enabling these behaviours and entrenching people more in it. Yep. Not deliberately. Yep. But this is what it is.
And we don't like looking at ourselves as enablers, but we really need to have a look at that going forward. We need to identify that.
Yeah, we do, and that's a big part of it. So Kerry's very good with that, but Kerry also when she first met me, she never knew anything about mental illness or addictions or wasn't around that. And she could have run. And if she had another choice now, she probably would have. Looking back, she'd probably go, I'm out. But she chose to learn and stick by me. And now Kerry's a root cause therapist, and she knows more about mental health than I'll know.
Yes.
I've got the lived experience of it. So we work as a team, whereas she's got that professional side and that support person side, and I've got the lived experiences living with these things and how to change habits, and that's what I teach. I teach people motivation, how to change habits and have purpose, and where does purpose come from, and all these things. Get them to discover their core values, and because you ask people what's your core values, they look at me like I'm silly, and you think, well, how do you know where to go? How do you know what defines you?
You need a foundation.
Where's your and purpose? It doesn't have to be some massive thing about purpose. So help people discover that and change habits, and Kerry does the therapy side of it. So it's gone from a support group that we never envisaged any of this, Noel. We've just sort of gone with our hearts, and it's evolved. So then it became Kerry wanted a shop, and I went, don't know how that's going to work, but anyway, we had no income for it. There was no idea of how income was happening. So we just thought,
how are we going to do that?
We'll get funding and stuff.
Yep.
No idea how to get funding.
Yep.
And then we went into this commercial building that we had no idea of all the other costs. We just thought it was
get a room, and you're right.
Yeah, we thought it was per month. This was it. But then you start getting the rates. We didn't know that part. And then all these other bills come in. And then we had the internet and the electricity, and then maintenance. You have to pay all this maintenance stuff on the building. And I'm going, what? And we nearly went under, as in ourselves. We've gone from having trouble financially to having more trouble financially.
Yes.
And I was thinking, we're gonna need the support. So, we've got links and collaborations with Ball Food Relief now. So I have for a long time. They bring food in, and we package it up and give it to families in need around the area. Our group put that together.
Yes.
The guys that come along to our community group and start off as a men's group, now it's a community group.
Which is on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m, 36 Contingent Street, Trafalgar, Victoria.
Yeah, and it's It's so casual. It's about communication, connection, feeling a sense of belonging, being part of something, mateship, kinship, whatever. It's basic, but this is what it is.
Yes.
If we look at the things that bring good mental health, they're those things. They're health, living a healthier lifestyle, getting out, doing things we enjoy,
socialising,
having a place to go. Like our youth group and our community group, we don't focus and push mental health stuff. We don't do that. We create a comfortable place. We build rapport with these kids and these adults, and then we tell people, go and speak about your mental health. Go and talk to people when you need. But where are these places?
Yes.
We want people. It's not easy to talk to someone when you don't know them. Sometimes it is. Other times, to build rapport with someone that they can come and then have a chat to you when they're having problems and feel comfortable. That's what we're building.
Yes, and you can't just walk up to somebody in the street, go, "Hey, how you going?" and then dump all your problems on them.
It's hard,
and that is hard, and it's even hard to find people within your family, because there's dynamics that have gone through your childhood and things along those lines that might not lend themselves for a conversation like that.
Yep.
But the beauty of the Thursday community group and the Tuesday youth group at Bettermentall is that you don't have to go there to dump your problems. You can go there and have a dinner, bake a sandwich, and a cup of tea, meet your mates, and lifelong friends have developed up.
That's right.
I know myself. I've got a number of good friends.
Yeah.
But from the service.
We want it to be a well-being hub,
yes,
not an illness hub.
Yes, that's right.
We don't want to be saying, hey,
hub.
everybody that's, if you're not well, we can all do with good communication skills and connection and community and these things. These are all healthy things that build a healthy person, that help us with our mental health without focusing on our mental health. So right. Let's start focusing on those things.
Yep.
Healthier eating. It doesn't mean you have to always eat as clean. That's not what we're saying. We're talking about balance.
Yes.
When we go extreme one way, we've got to go extreme the other way. How about we find balance and start using balance as our place to be?
Yes. And
not so focused on how I have to be this. Just allow things to be and just input good things in your life, and good things happen. It really is. If you're drinking and smoking and eating unhealthy, then the good things aren't going to be so easy to come by.
Yes.
That's not where they're found. The treasures of life
yes.
and the treasures of finding peace, contentment, joy in your life is by doing the things that are you. Now, who are you? What do you like? The things that are deep.
Yes.
I say to people, look back as a kid. What did you enjoy being as a kid? Because a lot of people in addiction go, I don't have anything I enjoy. And I was one of them. Nothing. I enjoy nothing. As a kid, we only do things we enjoy. We don't go out of our way to do things that we don't enjoy.
Look
back as a child, what did you enjoy? And I look back now, I loved running. I remember I used to time myself out the front of the yard and compare myself to Carl Lewis over 20 metres and then times it by 5 and go, I've got him over 100, I reckon. So my maths obviously wasn't very good back then. But look back at those things. And so Kerry and I now, it's all about community. It's all about getting together. But we also have the therapy side of it, like I said. We also have the habit change and motivation that I provide. I do a lot of mentoring and one-on-one stuff. So it's about that. It's about, I suppose, showing people the way too. Like, I'm not just telling them they can get there. I'm showing them because I'm living it.
Yes, you're mentoring it.
Yeah, I'm living from a place of absolute despair where every day I didn't want to be here to now a place where I love life and it's blissful and I want to be here and I can't wait for more days and I don't want to go to bed. Whereas in the past, so the very thing that used to hold me back, my mental health diagnoses and the way I used to feel and my emotions and thoughts are now, and those things, bipolar, are things that now drive me.
Yep.
So see the perception difference?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
So we all have these choices. We all have it within us. But my motto is believe to achieve. Yep. So when we believe in something, we will do something about it, and then when we do something, we will achieve something. Until we believe it, it's very hard to get up and about and start to do something. So when I believed in my diagnosis and what life would be like, I did something about it and I achieved exactly what they said I'd be.
Yep.
Trouble with alcohol and drugs and all sorts of things and relationships. I did that.
You achieved it.
I did. I achieved all that. Yep. And I was, like I said, I was a pin-up boy. I did everything they said I'd do. Then,
a pin-up boy for somebody who was suffering psychosis and mental illness.
Yeah, I was exactly what they said.
Yep.
Exactly. The troubles in life, it was exactly that. In and out of psych wards, like the amount of times in psych wards involuntary and attempts. So I lived it.
Yep.
I lived and breathed what they said.
Yes.
Then when I decided through Kerry gave me the ultimatum, but I still had a choice. I decided to start to look elsewhere. I started to look at different areas and started to believe a different story. Yep. So instead of looking at what I was told I'd be, I started looking at other people that had been living with bipolar disorder, other people that were achieving. There's people out there.
There you go.
And finding out what they were doing.
That's what I was going to speak to about the beauty of the community group on Thursday mornings at Bettermentall, which started out as a men's group and it's grown and grown and grown to incorporate everyone, was that people get an opportunity to go and sit down with other people, of like-minded people, have a cup of tea, and stories come about.
Yep.
You know, stories that people have achieved milestones that you would like to achieve.
Yep.
And also that people, you have achieved milestones that other people would like to achieve.
Yep.
So it's actually reciprocal. Everybody sort of compliments everyone else there. There's no judgment.
No.
There's no charge.
There's no comparison either.
There's no.
So we don't compare stories.
Nope.
We share stories.
That's right.
When we compare, we're saying mine's worse. I don't want to be the worst. Let me tell you, it's not.
Or the best.
I don't want to be the best. I don't want to be the best at being bipolar and manic and addiction. I don't want to be the best at that. So So it's not about comparing. It's about sharing. And when we share and give what we have and what we've learned, that is powerful.
Indeed.
But it doesn't mean there's no force either. I don't say to people, you need to do this because I have. We're all different.
Yep.
But I share my story in the hope that they get something out of it to take away.
Yep.
Because when I look back now, Noel, at where I was and the times that I had attempts on my life, it wasn't that, I look at it now, it wasn't that I wanted to leave this place and die. I actually wanted the pain to be relieved.
Yep.
If someone could show me a different way and give me hope, I'm staying.
Yep.
I was looking for some way out of what was going on in my head.
Yep.
And the only answer that kept coming up, because I said I tried everything I had, the only answer that kept coming up is, and it was a solution.
Yes.
This pain is that intense, and I challenge anybody to think of the worst pain they've ever had in their life physically, and then imagine you could never be relieved of that, or believe that you could never be relieved of that, and see how long you would sit here and keep trying. Because it's very hard. But what I want to tell people is there is way out of your emotional and mind pain.
Yes.
There is ways out,
Yes.
healthy ways, but there's work to be done.
Yes.
And it's about making a choice and you stepping into the driver's seat and making that choice and then having people around you to support. We can't fix you. Nobody can fix you.
Yep.
Nothing can fix you, but you can heal and start to move forward with the support of others. Nobody can't fix you, but we can very well
certainly
support
hold your hand
and be
whilst
there.
you're walking down the path.
Be in the boat, rowing with you.
Yes.
Not rowing
Yes.
for you,
Yep.
rowing with you.
Yep.
And also not the dude on the bank yelling and screaming orders.
Yep.
Row.
Yep. Yep.
Don't drink, don't do this. No, we're not
That
doing
doesn't
that.
work.
We're in the boat with you rowing.
Yep.
Not rowing for you,
Yep.
not barking orders, but rowing with you. And I think that's powerful.
And if if you are drinking and you are smoking and things along those lines, that's fine too.
Of course it is.
You're going to let it do that. That's fine.
We're not judging no one.
No.
We're there to support, help, whatever you want. And it's based on you
Yes.
and what you want.
And at your level.
And then
And
we
where you're
walk
at.
with you.
Yes.
Row with you, walk with you, run with you. I'll run with you.
Yeah. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of Bettermentall. And I think that's the strength of Bettermentall as well. It's informal. It's laid back.
Yep.
It's very helpful. And you don't have to discuss anything. But you find when you're sitting in those environments and you're listening to all the other stories and you do tend to compare yourself.
You do.
But you find relationships. You find common ground.
Yep.
And then you find tips. And as we said before, small steps. Even the smallest tip you might take away and go, great, I'm going to implement that. That works for you.
But it even just get you out of your house.
Yes. Well, again, that's
Get you out of your house and out of your own head.
Yeah.
Out of your house, out of your own head.
Yep.
And like when we go it alone and when we isolate, when we go it alone and we go life alone, we all need support, everybody. So don't think you're weak if you need support. Everybody needs support. Because when we go things alone, we're doing things that we know and we're where we are because of what we know.
Yep.
So when we get other people involved, we get different perceptions, we get different ideas and different things we can do, and then we can input them into our life and implement them, and our life will change. But while we're going around the same path, we're going to get the same results.
Yep.
So start looking at that support as a growth thing. Like the most the people that are the most successful, I don't like that word, but let's use successful in the world in all areas. They've all got support. They haven't done it alone.
Correct. You're not no
so
one's successful in isolation.
Weak because you need support. No, every single person on this planet. We're communal beasts. We need and thrive off other people, and we are our best when we have the support of others. Don't shut that out.
100% with you on that one, mate. 100%.
Yeah.
Now,
and we don't have all the answers, Noel. We don't attest
No.
to. But what we also do, we work a lot with other organisations. We support other organisations. They support us. We do not have all the answers and we don't attest to. But what we do have is that willingness to be there for people, to show up. We're consistent.
Yep.
The community groups every week, the youth groups every week during school. I'm available. We're always available as best we can be.
Yep. What's your future plans for Bettermentall, mate?
I'd love to see so much more, Noel. Obviously, we're self-funded, so it's hard.
Yes.
We do rely on, not rely, but it helps us to stay. We're at a place where we can keep the doors open, but when there's no movement forward. And we have plans of being open more often. Like we have Thursday. We do a lot more other than just the Thursday and that. We do a lot of one-on-one stuff and Kerry does therapy and so forth and peer support and all those things. But we want to be open more often.
Yep.
And offering so much more.
Because Kerry and yourself, actually, I know you do a lot of NDIS support and a lot of mentoring work as well, which takes you away from the hub.
Yeah.
And I know Kerry's very busy.
But that's
busy.
Those things are what keep the hub open. Our work that we do, I work solely in this field, but the work we do is what funds the hub to allow the community to access it.
And some community donations. I know Lions Club has been very generous with you, and so has the Silk Roads, Trafalgar Farmers Market have been very very helpful, and a number of other businesses around town have been very supportive of you as well.
We've had support, but when I say that, it's still it's very hard.
Yeah, it is
to balance because the need exceeds what we can do.
Yep,
and the growth in the need, sadly,
there is a need.
Yeah. And with the cost of living and all those sort of things, they all hinder us, and we see so many more people now.
Now, yes, and of course you accept donations because you have a pretty extensive Christmas breakfast as well, where lots of gifts. Just unpack that for a moment.
Oh, yeah, so we just put it out there. There's a lot of families. Christmas is a very nice time for a lot, but very hard for others. So we're just trying to alleviate a little bit of that and make it joyful. So families in need, we just get them to register and we get new gifts donated. We purchase them. The community get behind it and bring in gifts, and we were able to give over 70 kids a bag of new gifts and relevant to them because we ask what their interests
age
in that
appropriate,
are. But the person's interests, the kids' interests and their age and those things. So, yeah, we do that, and then we've got the Christmas breakfast that we do each year for everybody to come along. There's some people out there that might just sit at home on their own because family are away or they don't have family or they're having troubles financially or whatever. We don't care. We don't ask.
It was a wonderful day last year. The CFA come around with Santa Claus and the fire brigade and all those things. It was fantastic, mate.
Yeah, but what we want to do, Noel, is we want to have more days where the actual hub's open.
Yep.
I want to be a bit more of a drop-in centre. That's where we started, but we've sort of been taken away from being able to sit there because we just don't have the resources to do that. But
that's a future goal.
Yeah, just to be open, maybe even another day and have another youth group night as well. But we've got lots of plans with all those things. It's just obviously hindered by funds.
So when are you open, mate, and what times and for who?
Yeah, so the actual hub's only Thursday at the moment, 10 till, say, 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yep.
We have every second week. We also have meditation on that day with Bree from Solistic. But so that's a barbecue during this time of the year, but obviously in winter it might be a bit different. But then on the Tuesday evening, 3:30 till 5, we have the youth group where the high school kids come and talk, have some day, play table tennis, catch up.
And yourself and Kerry can be found at the hub or be met at the hub by appointment.
Yeah. So by appointments, yeah. So like I said, I do a lot of mentoring, one-on-one, and Kerry a lot of therapy. We also do work together, so see participants together to give them that broad spectrum of Kerry's support and professional side of it and my lived experience. So.
How do we find you, mate?
Facebook, Bettermentall.
Yep.
Facebook page that tells us what's going on in the community.
Yep.
And what we're up to and what we're doing, and invite people along to the community days and so forth. Keep people abreast of that. And then Bettermentall Together is another Facebook group where I just do some rants about my lived experience and life and habit changes and motivation and stuff like that. And then our website, Bettermentall.com,
is it?
Bettermentall.com, I think.
I've got bettermentall.com.au.
There you go. There, you got me covered.
That's with a double L on the end too.
Yeah, Bettermentall. There's a story behind that. I wish we never did it because people get to stuff it up a little bit. But Bettermentall, it was a bit of a play on words. Betterment all people. Yep. Bettermental,
betterment
better.
For all.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So it's Bettermentall. I'll spell it for you. BettermentallL.com.au.
That's it. And then info at bettermentall.com.au is the email.
If you want to contact, if you want to get in contact with Jason or Kerry.
And then there is a phone number. You'll have to look up the website because I don't have it in my head.
As you do. Do you have a Patreon account or anything like that? If anyone would like to pop $10 into your account,
$10K? Did you say?
Well, that'd be nice. $10 for a food hamper or something for someone.
There is a Patreon on the website. So if you go to the website, there's also there'll be a GoFundMe. There was GoFundMe, yes. You can drop in and say g'day at the hub as well, and we can talk about that.
Location, mate, where are you?
36 Contingent Street, Trafalgar,
Victoria.
In the white weatherboard, next to the church, next to the Uniting Church. There.
And it's a great place. It's got a really good feel to it, and it's got a good space in the back, in the backyard area for where we have our barbecues and a little sit under the tree when the sun's shining. It's rather lovely.
Very casual.
And we can actually have a wander over into the Trafalgar men's shed and have a wander through their garden. And
the garden.
It's a really good spot, mate. It's a really fantastic
It's very
spot.
inviting.
It is.
Come along and join us.
Yes, please do. Mate, I'd like to thank you for today very much. It's always a joy to catch up with you.
You too.
And I consider you a very, very close friend. Thank you for putting the time in and speaking to us.
No worries, and we'll come back and talk more about
Well, I was going to say,
motivation
that
one
was
day.
the next thing I was going to say. Would you be open to coming back and doing another couple of shows with us?
Yeah, I think we can sort of make it more about topical, maybe motivation
All
or
right.
something one other time.
That'd be fantastic. And I'm sure a lot of people out there would dearly like to hear from you again.
Yeah, cool. Oh, the other thing we do quickly is you can book us for to come and talk at your
Public speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
And,
Public speaking. Yes, at your functions
lived
around
experience.
mental health and well-being, lived
And lived
experience.
experience,
Yes, things along those lines.
Cool.
Mate, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you to all you people out there. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. You can find us on Facebook or at our website at aimedmen.com.au. Thank you. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.